Hey YouTube, this is MrClutch going over our updated rest of season rankings. It's week 4. We just watched the Bengals Miami game. Hope Tua's okay. We've got Chris and Omar with us. Say hi.
Yo, diggity dog, dudes. That's my thing now.
I can't. Hey,
All right, let's get into it. Running back rankings. This is my tier list. We're gonna have them comment, see their opinions. I got Saquon at number 1. I got Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. Saquon, I was high on him at the beginning of the year. I knew he could be up here. The only reason I didn't pick him at number 10 because I thought I could get him back on the swing back because everybody was not picking him early enough. But McCaffrey and Taylor haven't been as exciting as we thought they would. Saquon is literally RB1 and wide receiver 1 on that team now that Sterling Shepard is injured for the year. So,
God.
so I'm gonna have it like that. What do you guys think?
I have the same 3 in my first tier. I do have Jonathan Taylor still at 1, and then I have Saquon and CMC in that order. I didn't see enough to still be able to doubt Jonathan Taylor, and I think CMC out of these 3 definitely has the hardest schedule for the rest of the year. I don't know. So
Interesting take.
yeah.
that's the same order I have it too. That's Chris.
Really? Okay.
I have Jonathan
Yeah,
Taylor
I mean,
once.
honestly, that they haven't been targeting CMC as much as I thought they would. And there's always that injury risk as well. So let's go to tier A here. I have Mixon first in this tier, above Henry, Cook, and Chubb. Did just trade for Mixon, so I might be a little bit biased.
Mhm.
I traded Swift for Mixon to get out of the injury slump because I'm down in one of our leagues. The volume was there. You could see it last night. He got stuffed at the goal line 5 times, which is a killer. I think he's a buy low candidate right now because most people watch that game and are not happy, even though he got 15 points or more than 15. But Derrick Henry, he's just getting older. I don't like the Tennessee Titans this year. I don't like the whole line, but he's still Derrick Henry, so he has to be in there. Cook, a little banged up, but you can always get Alexander Madison as his handcuff, and then Chubb is playing out of his mind. But he still has Hunt, so I can't put them above Mixon, even though I want to. What do you guys think?
I have this. I have your 4 players in that order, except for I have Chubb in front of all of them. Actually,
Oh wow,
I've moved Chubb to the top of tier A for me, and then we moved the others back. And I have a couple other people in tier A as well. So
okay, we'll talk about them when I bring them up. What about you, Omar?
I actually did not have Derrick Henry in the A slot. Instead, I did have your other 3 players, and I also had Swift up there.
Gotcha.
I know Swift is injured for a couple of weeks, and I know he has that bye. But the good thing is that the bye week is coming up soon, which means there's a chance he doesn't miss too long, maybe just only 2 weeks. And when he plays, he's arguably a top 3 running back in fantasy. So I definitely think he's in that tier. I put on that tier actually. Dalvin was my 4th running back, followed by Chubb, followed by Swift, and then Mixon is at the last. Mixon, I just can't rank him top 5. I mean, the guy had, I think, was coming into the game yesterday with 2.8 yards per carry, and after the game yesterday, it lowered. He's getting a ton of touches, but that offensive line is just not getting enough push for me.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't exciting to see him run into his offensive line over and over. But that workload is just undeniable. I think the O-line will just get better throughout the season. They've already gotten way better since week 1. But I can definitely see you guys doubt. Henry, I was really hesitant to put him there. I was wanting to move him down as well. But in Swift, I had Swift before he got injured. I had him as the top 3 running back in S tier. He got hurt. Jamal Williams vultured every single touchdown. I don't know. I mean, he's kind of injury prone. The good thing, like you said, the bye week kind of eliminates one of the weeks when he's injured. Like he'll be injured for 3 weeks anyways, so the bye week will just be a free week at the end of the year when he doesn't have a bye week. So
But he's also perpetually injured. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but like Swift is definitely for me in the A tier as well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's lucky. It's definitely lucky that what do you call it? He'll probably only miss like 2 weeks because of the bye week.
Yeah.
Also,
All right. So B tier, Eckler, Fournette, Swift. Obviously, I think Swift is better than these guys, but he's injured. And Jamal Williams keeps vulturing his touchdowns. It just hurts. Eckler's been really disappointing. Last year, we knew he wasn't gonna get as many touchdowns this year. But he's just, I don't know. I mean, the Chargers will look better. He'll play better, but he definitely doesn't have the upside that we thought coming into the year. And then Fournette, he's got that workload, even though he's not as talented as the guys around him. So we got to keep him in B tier, and then I have Swift. What do you guys think?
I mean, I have Austin Eckler up in my A tier. Well, I guess I have 2 less tiers than you, but what do you call it? I have Austin Eckler up in A tier. I mean, mainly because like, I mean, yeah, he hasn't been performing as well, but keep in mind that like, I mean, Herbert's been like just been wrecked. Like
Banged
he's
up a
not,
little bit.
yeah, not in top form. So like, I mean, I definitely just like we expected his like touchdowns to regress this year. I expect his like what do you call it? His like receptions and like touches to regress upward as like the offense improves and Herbert like gets fully healthy. So that's my take on that.
Fair enough. Anything, Omar?
I just had a bunch of people in B tier. They're
Yeah.
all that range of running backs is all the same to me. Not all the same, I should say, but
Gotcha. Yeah. So let me just jump into C then, and then we can talk about them all. So we got Aaron Jones, Najee, Javonte, Kamara, James Conner, and James Robinson. Very surprising. James Robinson is all the way back up here. So I do not want Aaron Jones on my team. If you can sell him, I would sell him. I don't like the fact that we got AJ Dillon taking carries away and climbing up. I don't know. I just don't like that idea. And then Najee, he has the workload. The team is terrible. I think he has a solid floor, but his upside is really capped. Javonte, the Denver Broncos look terrible. They will get better. I don't know. Most people are really high on him. I think I have him lower than most people do, even though I think I could push him down even more, to be honest. But Kamara, he has that league-winning upside. He could easily jump to S if he wanted to. So we have to keep him in C, even though he's had a bad start. Connor, I actually have Connor. I think he is a good buy low candidate. He's getting all the touches. Coach wants to use him more. I mean, he doesn't have any backups like Benjamin and Darrell Williams aren't taking any carries from him. And then we got James Robinson. This is an interesting one. So I heard some experts talking about James Robinson having him ahead of Najee Harris. Chris just made a trade, James Robinson for Najee Harris. He also threw in Cooper to get Harris. So Amari Cooper and James Robinson to get Najee Harris. What do we think about this? What do we think about James Robinson in particular?
Well, go
go
for
ahead,
it,
Chris.
Omar. No, you go for it.
so it's funny you mentioned James Robinson because I actually have on your list, I have Najee, Javonte, and James Conner all lower. But I do have James Robinson in that I guess in your C tier.
So you have James Robinson above Connor, Javonte, and Najee.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting a lot of touches. He's the same running back, even after that partial Achilles tear that he had last year. He was the RB1. He was an RB1 his first year as an undrafted player. He would look good last year up until that injury, and he's looked good this year. Only bad game was really against the Colts, which have a very good run defense. Even without Darius, I think it goes by Shaquille now Leonard. So James Robinson, there's just nothing bad going for him. The only thing is that you have Travis Etienne, but
Mhm.
I just think this is going to be a timeshare where James Robinson is going to get most of the work and the backfield is going to get most of the red zone work, and I think that makes him very valuable. He's on a better offense too.
Yeah.
Than the other three, than Javante,
All very
Najee,
valid
and Dean.
points. I think most people are just they can't get over how he was like a 10th round pick. And I'm kind of the same way right here because I just need to watch the Jags game and really see if this is for real. Because I mean, ETN was supposed to take over the backfield, but he just hasn't. What do you think, Chris? You made the trade.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have Najee a little high. I think I have Najee actually in what do you call it? The tier above this tier with Kamara, and then I have James Robinson at the front of this tier. Yeah, James Robinson for me is like, I mean, he's definitely talented and good and all, but like we're gonna just look at the overall like offense of the Jags. I think that they're definitely outperforming like where they should be, and like if we want to like maybe they are just like that good, but like I just don't see like them continuing to score like 30 points a
Yeah.
game against all these like offense and just blowing like teams out to the point where they can just keep running the ball
Yeah.
and just like divide all the touches between them. And of course, like Etienne will like what do you call it? Regress like back to like some like decent like running back stature. I mean, he's not untalented. It's just that James Robinson is going off right now. So we're just like we can't like yeah, we can project that he can continue, but at the same time, we can also be like, okay, it's basically a perfect storm for James Robinson right now. Like, will it continue to be like that in the future?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with Chris. I mean, I do think the Jags are a little bit more legit this year, but it's a good solid high opportunity. If he ends up playing well, oh well, still a Najee. Anyways, let's move forward. Let's try to speed up a little bit. I got Cordero, AJ Dillon. I think they are clearly worse than the guys I have in C tier, and I think they're clearly better than the guys I have in E tier. That's why I have them by themselves. And let me do E real quick, and then you guys can talk. We got Bryce Hall from Mondre, J.K. Dobbins. I think, Brees Hall, sorry. I think he takes over the backfield. He already kind of has started to do that. Same with Ramondre. I like these young guys a lot. And then JK coming back from injury. Give him a couple weeks before you start really plugging them in. But RB2 high upside as a high end RB2 in my opinion once he comes back fully. Biggest thing.
It's fair. It's definitely fair. I have AJ Dillon. I have Cordero behind him, and I also have Brees Hall in the same tier. I do have I did throw in like what I think is going to be having a surprising upside later this season. I drafted him in all my leagues. I think Cam Akers is going to be here. No, I swear to God, man. Like
You put him in the same tier as those guys.
I think what do you call it? As you see, like his projection, like I mean, yeah, he got what like one touch for -2 yards his first game, but like you see like that he's getting more involved, and if the Rams like offense is as legit as it is, he's definitely going to take over the backfield. I mean, like even if it's like a 60-40 split to Cam Akers side, I think there's enough like firepower on this offense where he can definitely be thrown up in that tier eventually.
I'll take.
Mm-hmm.
Omar, any quick thoughts?
Yeah, I have a bunch of running backs ahead of those three that you had.
Really? Just name
well,
them off then. Just name them off.
First of all, I had Cordero Patterson in the same range as James Robinson.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, Cordero Patterson, he's getting 20 carries. Like he did. I know it was the Seattle defense, but he was doing crazy stuff. I mean, he lost me the week. I was playing against him in both leagues actually. He's so good in space. He can see a hole. He can hit through him. And outside of injury, I don't see why it would stop. The Falcons, excuse me, also have Just a lot of weapons on offense that opens up that space for him. I also had ahead of them. I also had Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt and AJ Dillon are the same sort of tier.
That's crazy.
No, yeah, I mean, he's got a point. They're both backup running backs that play the same role. So
Ugh.
I had Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs ahead of them as well, and I also have Damian
Wow.
Pierce ahead of Brees Hall.
okay.
Jesus Christ. Well,
So
mean,
here's the thing.
this is Omar's last episode on this podcast. He will
I mean,
not
hey,
be
listen,
invited
listen.
back next week.
No. So Omar has a lot of valid points. Let me go up. So let me just go over my F tier then. So I got Elijah Mitchell here, but that's not really him. That's just this 49ers running back in general. Whoever's playing, that's where he's going to be. And I got Clyde, Jacobs, Hunt, Elliott, Pierce, Miles Sanders, Antonio Gibson, and Montgomery. So Omar is talking about all the dead zone running backs. He believes in them. I have more doubt. Only in terms of fantasy football. So when you look at like what you want out of fantasy players, you want them to create space between the next best running back, right? So like think about tight ends. You want Travis Kelce over a Kittle or like a Hawkinson. Like the point differential between that position will win you that week. All these running backs to me will get around the same amount of points anyways. So I just can't. And they're losing. Like Antonio Gibson is going to lose his backfield. Miles Sanders is in a committee. Damian Pierce is on a terrible team. Elliott, I don't even know why they still use him over Pollard. Like I just don't like these guys that much. And I'm going for upside here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not. He's got 0 yards last game. He's getting his biggest sell high candidate ever. I traded him along with Marquise Brown for Roman Raw, which I love. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. If you want to say anything, Chris, real quick, and then I'll move on to G.
I think Zeke is an S tier league loser.
League loser.
If you take Zeke, I think you will definitely ensure you'll lose this year.
Yeah. All right. On to G. Damien Harris. He is definitely not as good as Ramondre. They've already realized that they're using Ramondre more. Same time, I don't think you can really not use a guy who's got 15 touchdowns last year. So they're going to keep using him. Devin Singletary, he's played okay. He's getting a lot of catches, actually. But he's just not as exciting as the guys above him. Same with Cam Akers. I know Chris thinks he's going to take over. He might. But he hasn't shown it. And I don't like the Rams offense right now. Pollard, I think they should use him more than Elliott, but they refuse to. Etienne, I don't really know where to put him, but he's going to be back here. I think it's just Jalen Robinson's backfield. And let me just say H and I real quick, and you guys can say whatever you want. So H is for handcuff. I have my handcuffs here. So I don't have a picture of Jamal Williams, Herbert, but they're here. They're above Edmonds and Madison. I think Madison, Herbert, and Williams are S tier handcuffs. They will be RB1s for you when they're laying guys down. Edmonds, super disappointing. I thought he'd do better. He's still getting red zone looks, but not looking great. And then we have the crappy running backs, some more handcuffs. I don't think anybody here is really worth talking about. So I thought Penny would be better, though. He did with me in my fantasy league last year in a committee on a bad team. It's just a little surprising because we all thought he would do a little bit better. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I didn't even go past Singletary and Pollard on my list. So I don't even think those guys are really worth picking up. If you're picking them up, it's rough times, and they're basically all the same.
Well, let me ask you and Omar real quick. Where would you put Jamal Williams and Herbert? Because I think they're and Madison. Where would you put those like super high end handcuffs?
It just depends on your team, right? Like if you have the space for them, like definitely. Like it depends on like what you need. Like do you need like running backs do you want like to shoot for upside, or do you need like you're reaching your bye, like say you're reaching your bye weeks and like you just can't hold on to them, but they're definitely like worth something to trade. I do feel, especially the people holding on to those running backs.
Yeah.
So, but it's
Yeah.
hard to rank.
Yeah, it's hard to put them above guys who already have those in the offense. All right, wide receiver. I have S tier, Cooper Kupp, all by himself. I'm a little salty about this. I picked Justin Jefferson before him because of the Matt Stafford elbow thing with tendonitis, and that's clearly not an issue. Maybe it will at the end of the year, but Jefferson has had a couple dud games. I think he'll be fine. I'm putting him above Diggs out of probably bias, but Diggs really is being an S tier wide receiver, playing with the best quarterback in the league. He deserves all the credit to be up here with these guys. And then let me just go through A as well so you guys can talk. Jamar Chase, a little bit disappointing. I think you have to throw him down. He was in my S tier at the beginning of the year with Jefferson and Kupp. But T. Higgins is no joke, man. He's going to take a lot of receptions away. And then we got Devontae Adams, hasn't got as many receptions with that crowded receiver corps in Las Vegas. And then when you got AJ Brown and Amon-Ra and Tyreek, who are absolutely killing it. Tyreek had one bad week, but two is hurt, so I have to drop Tyreek back. You can literally break fantasy football any week. But these two guys are I'm really excited about AJ Brown and Amon-Ra. I didn't think the Eagles would pass this much, and they're passing a lot. And Amon-Ra is really that dude. So what do you guys think?
I actually have those 8 people in the exact same order. I just threw Jamar Chase and Devontae Adams into the tier above. I think they're closer to those two than they are with the people below them, just in terms of like
same order.
Exact same order for the first 8. I just have
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. Like I think Adams and Chase are just like, I don't know, in a tier above at least Tyreek. I mean, Amon-Ra's like good, but like, are we gonna like, we can project off of it, but at the same time, then we're gonna like discount the production that like Chase and Devontae Adams like have proven they can do. And like Devontae Adams in like week 1 has shown that like this offense is capable of supplying him the targets that he needs to reach that tier. So like, I definitely think they deserve to be in a tier above.
That's
So,
fair.
Justin,
I'll just make one counter before Omar goes. I think Amon-Ra is that dude. I mean, he got 36 points week 2 or something like that. So he definitely can be up there in the S tier with those type of guys. I don't know. He just doesn't have the target competition that Chase and Adams have. So I think it is fair to have him in the same tier. And when you talk about targets, he's getting 12 targets a game. He's getting volume no matter what. So at least he'll have a high floor. We can talk about ceiling, but yeah, that's just my counter to that. Omar, what do you think?
Yeah, so my top 5 is the same as your guys' top 5. It's still the same as draft day. I don't think anything's changed. Devontae's been a little disappointing with his catches and yards the past 2 games, but other than that, it's all the same. The only difference is that really in that mid tier, I have like, I think 9 receivers in that mid tier where I think they're pretty interchangeable. Actually, looking back
Are
on
you
it,
talking about A tier? Because we haven't gone past A tier yet.
no, I'm talking about the A tier, but looking back on it, I actually needed to change
Okay.
2 of those wide
So you
receivers.
kind of like how I broke it down a little bit.
I like AJ Brown and Tyreek Hill in a separate tier, maybe Amon-Ra too. But I think T.
Okay.
Higgins, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman, Waddle, Debo, and Sutton could all be interchangeable in the next
Okay.
tier.
Okay, yeah, I'll talk about them in a second. So actually, I'll just talk about it now. So Debo, Higgins, Pittman, CD, and I'll just say C as well because you mentioned them. Mike Evans, Sutton, Waddle. Okay, so Debo, I think he's underperformed so far. First week, he played in a hurricane. That didn't count for me. Week 2, Trey Lance got hurt. Jimmy's trying to get back in the offense still. there are good Debo weeks coming. He is a buy low candidate for me. He was drafted too high in my opinion, but I think he can justify those numbers. T. Higgins is legit. People were high on Chase and not as high on Higgins, but they're closer than I think most people think. Pittman, he's that guy in Indianapolis. There's literally nobody else to throw to. Same with CeeDee Lamb. There's nobody else to throw to. Dak's coming back sooner than we think. But I think those guys are definitely under the A tier guys, so I have to put them in B. And I think they're definitely above the C tier guys. Because when I go over C tier, I had Waddle higher, but now that two is hurt. I mean, we don't know what that's gonna look like. Waddle was playing out of his mind. So like, is that he really gonna keep that up when Tyreek is the main guy there? I'm not sure. Same with Sutton. He's been playing out of his mind, not out of his mind. He's been playing well. But I think he's a little bit of a sell high candidate. Judy's not like, he's not a bad wide receiver too. Like he could be, those two could be closer than most people think as well. So I think Sutton and Mike Evans are gonna have to be down here with their the receiving competition in the offense, because just Godwin's coming back, Julio's coming back, like Mike Evans still gonna be really good because the wide receiver one with Tom Brady, but that's just how it happened, right?
I will say Sutton specifically, he's putting up crazy receiving yards, and the entire Bronco offense looks terrible. I don't think that the Broncos are going to stay terrible all year. They have a new head coach, new coaching staff altogether, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. So I think things will get better. And if the offense get better, then all of a sudden you have the Sutton touchdown upside too that you have to consider. That's why we're talking about rest of season. I think Sutton is still up there, and pretty interchangeable with a lot of the receivers ahead of him. And with regards to the two injury, we don't know how long he's going to be out.
Yeah.
I don't, if it's just a concussion, not just a concussion, concussions are serious, but I don't think it's going to be longer than 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Waddle was really a surprise to me, honestly. I didn't think he'd do as well as he's been doing. But even when like the injury happened, like last night, Waddle only got like 4 points. So I don't know. It's hard for me to put him too high when you got Tyreek there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have to shift Waddle downwards. I have like in this range. Yeah, I have everyone. I have Mike Evans shifted to B tier, probably like switch basically with like where you have T. Higgins. I do think like right now the main problem with the Bengals is like their O-line hasn't been working out as well as we thought it would, which I mean like just Joe Burrow scrambling. T. Higgins plays the slot, so he's getting more receptions. So like, but the O-line, as we saw like yesterday, it's trending upwards. They're getting more in touch. So like I think as the season goes on, yeah, T. Higgins will remain like pretty well, but I think we can expect like the average, like the ADOT to go up and like maybe less receptions. So maybe in like half PPR leagues, like T. Higgins will probably remain the same while others like will shift up above him. So I have
Like Shamar Chase.
don't worry about where Jamar Chase is. All right.
No, I think you're right. I mean, the more time you have in the pocket, the more time you can throw the deep. You have to
Sure.
throw the deep ball, so that makes sense.
Then yeah, I have like the people like below as well. I have I do have what do you call it? I do have Allen above Waddle, but the main person I have here in this range is I have Christian Kirk. Like I probably have him all the way up at 8, like all the way up to almost about where I mean I have him literally next to Pittman.
Wow.
And like
Okay.
C, yeah.
Yeah, so let me go over D and E. So D, Kirk, London, Allen, Williams. Yeah, I had Kirk up here as well when I first made this ranking, but then I was like, really? Like the Jaguars have been playing out of their minds. I think they'll be good, but like, I don't know. It's hard to put Kirk up there with these guys because these guys just have proven to be elite. This is coming out of nowhere, it seems like. So that's the only reason I put him down. And then London's the beast. He's rookie of the year candidate. He's already taken over Pitts as the main guy. Just on a bad offense, so I can't put him up here. Keenan Allen, he's getting older. He's got a hamstring injury already. That worries me. I think he'll have lingering injuries. That's why I can't put him higher. Mike Williams, he's a deep ball threat, but he can literally be so volatile. I just don't love having the idea of him getting 1 or 2 points and then getting like 30 points the next week. I don't know. I don't really like volatile players. And
Yeah.
then
I don't agree what he called. I think the separation between Keenan Allen and Mike Williams should be a little bit larger.
In an ideal world, I agree, but it's just the injuries for me. Like I think Keenan Allen will be in and out of the lineup all year. And let's go to a couple more injury guys. So we got Godwin, Michael Thomas. You got Deontay, Bateman, and Gabe Davis. So similar injury situations. I think Godwin's trending up, and Michael Thomas is trending down. I would have had Michael Thomas higher, but he's got the turf toe now, and Jameis Winston throwing to him is not the most exciting thing. I would like to pick Godwin over him because Brady's throwing to Godwin, and once he's back and healthy, he can really take over. And then, but I can't put anybody above those two guys from this group because with Bateman and Gabe Davis, these are two more deep threat volatile players in my opinion. So like I said, I don't love. I do like the floor that Deontay brings with his targets. The Steelers are just so bad, so he's not going to get as many touchdowns. What do you think?
Yeah, generally, I mean, when we get in this tier, it gets a little more like complicated. I mean, I agree. Generally, I definitely I see a lot of guys in your F tier that I have above a bunch of these guys in E tier. So
Let me run through F then. So
Yeah.
I got Terry, Hopkins, Judy, Devontae Smith, Marquise Brown, Amari Cooper, Juju. So the way I made these rankings was around Terry McLaurin, basically, because in the beginning of the season, I had him a little bit higher. Now we have Dotson and Samuel taking targets. And I think if you go from S tier to Gabe Davis, those are my wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2s. That line cuts off right here. This is the beginning of the wide receiver 3s for me. I think this is high upside wide receiver 3 with Terry McLaurin. And then Hopkins coming back, big Hopkins fan, but we haven't seen him play yet for a while, and he could get injured, so we can't put him too high. Judy's been injured. I think he'll be fine though. Like I said, these are high end wide receiver 3 guys for me. I don't think they're wide receiver 2s yet. They could be. They're attached to E, so they're really close to jumping up for me, but that's just where I have them for now.
Omar, it's your turn.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna say something else. I mean, yeah. Everything around this range is there's a little bit of uncertainty. I still think I have Terry at the same range as Deontay Johnson. I think they're very similar players in terms of consistency. They're not necessarily going to be boom players, but they're going to be consistent players that'll get you anywhere between 10 to 13 points a week. So that's why I sort of had them in the same tier. I also had Amari higher. I think he's going to be good. I think Jacoby Brissett is way better than Baker Mayfield, as evidenced by DJ Moore's disastrous season. So I like him a lot too. I was a little bit lower on Drake than you. I have him lower than McLaurin.
Okay.
So, but like, it's early in the season, and everything here is just kind of tough to predict. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with your rankings. It just
Yeah, I mean, once you get to like here, it's like it's all.
Yeah.
You could argue for days about like.
Yeah, I think any of these guys have the ability to jump up or fall off. So
yeah,
that's where it kind of cuts off for me, because DJ Moore and Brandon Cooks, bad teams, bad quarterbacks. They're not playing well. We got Olave and Garrett Wilson. I think these guys are a little exciting. Could potentially jump up. I love the air yards on Olave. I'm probably gonna be trying to buy low on him with some bench players, our leagues. And then
Yeah.
H tier, these are bench players for me. If you're starting them, you're probably down bad at wide receiver. But maybe you have them in the flex at a desperate time. I don't like the Seahawks receivers this year because of the situation with the offense. Thielen's been underwhelming. He can get touchdowns though. Ayuk, I don't know. If he's going to get that many, targets in a running offense. Robinson's a dud. Myers, it gets a lot of targets on the Patriots, but it's still the Patriots offense. It's not great this year. Lazard's been really disappointing. He can definitely get touchdowns, but I think Romeo Dobbs should be higher than him. I didn't have a picture. Romeo Dobbs would be probably at the beginning of this year, maybe even here actually. And then Tyler Boyd, I have him here just in case something happens with the Bengals receivers. I mean, if Chase or Higgins gets hurt, Boyd will be just fine. So that's how I have the end of that.
Yeah, I definitely going the season was pretty high on Ayuk. With Trey Lance going down though, it's we saw what like Ayuk did with Garoppolo like last season, so it's not anything to like look forward to.
Yeah.
God bless you. I have Olave. I actually have Olave over Drake London, even though I have Drake London in my league. I have Drake London down
So
in.
I'm a little high on Drake London then, I guess.
Yeah, I have him down in F. I guess the equivalent of your F tier, and then I have Olave up in F tier as well. So
Yeah, I don't know if I got skewed by Fantasy Pros, but they have him. They have him lower. I have him. So I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I hope he does well.
Yeah, on to the quarterbacks. So I added a little S minus here. S is my guy, Josh Allen. I picked him last year when he won me in my league. Picked him again. I think he's worth that third round pick. I think he's worth it. He throws, he runs, he does everything. S minus. I think Lamar and Jalen are legit with their rushing upside at a 4-point touchdown passing lead, even a 6-point. Like these guys are legit. The only thing is they're not as consistent in my eyes as Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen will be good no matter what. Lamar can have those days where he doesn't perform as well, like last year. And then Hurts is unproven. So that's the only reason I did that. Right now, these two guys are the main guys. What do you guys agree with that? Or
I mean, I definitely have I only have 5 tiers on the list, but I agree like that Josh Allen is definitely like number 1. So maybe I would just put him in a tier above, but I just clumped them together with Lamar, Jalen. I do have Jalen ahead of Lamar, just in terms of, I think the Eagles offense are crazy. I think that team's actually way better than I thought going into the season. I do have Herbert up there still in S tier. So like the first tier, I don't know. Like I just think like, I mean the last 2 games you gotta take with scratch. I mean, it's like he's gonna come back healthy, and like that offense is still gonna run like the engine that they ran last year that caused them to like, what do you call it, do so well.
yeah. Omar?
Yeah, those are my top 3 as well.
Okay.
Well, I have Lamar ahead of Hurts though.
Okay. So yeah, let me talk about A tier. So Patrick Mahomes, legendary, skill set. He's just trying to figure out the offense without Tyreek Hill. I think he'll be fine. I just don't think he has the upside of these Lamar and Jalen right now without the rushing yards. So yeah, I have to knock him down. But I got Kyler Murray actually ahead of Herbert, which is probably a hot take. I love the rushing from Kyler. I think he's gonna have a bounce back year. He had a rough start. He's still been kind of carrying the team without Hopkins. But once Hopkins comes back, like this team is, I think it's underrated, especially for fantasy. Like there's some exciting players on this team. They run a ton of plays. I think I have to put him above Herbert because of the rushing upside. Like I said, and Herbert's a little banged up. They will be fine. I agree. I'm not going to knock him down from A tier. I just don't think he's worth putting along the likes of Lamar and Jalen and Josh Allen. Yeah, I'll just say tier B as well. Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. I know I have Brady high. I'm a big Brady fan. I think he's gonna be fine. Like he hasn't had Calvin or Julio really at all, and Mike Evans was suspended for a game, and then they played the Saints and like with nobody. Like he's gonna be fine. His receivers are getting healthy again. The Bucks are gonna throw, and they're not gonna run it through Lenny all year long. That's just not gonna happen. They're still using plenty, and he catches passes too. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not betting against Tom Brady. And then I got Joe Burrow here as well. They're both non-rushing quarterbacks. That's why I got them in the B tier. But they have weapons. They have the arm talent. They're pretty much one and the same to me. If the Bengals O-line can hold up and be better like they're supposed to, I will put Burrow above Brady because Brady's team isn't looking too hot right now.
Yeah, I have Burrow in the tier above. So like, yeah, I mean, I have Brady in the exact same range. Just, I mean, yeah, I mean, Brady will be Brady. He has his, he definitely is going to get his weapons back sooner rather than later. So, I mean, we can't like expect him to be performing how he performs for the rest of the year. I do. Funny enough, so I made my list before the game. Do I say last night? Do I date this video?
Yeah, no.
All
We watched the Miami Bengals game last night.
Yeah, we watched the game at some undisclosed time in the past. So I actually had two. I had Tua in the same tier here because
Yeah, so I'll just talk about Tua. I moved him down because he got injured. I actually had him in C tier, I think. Yeah, he was beginning my C tier. We got Carr, Trevor Lawrence, and Wilson here. So Tua, unproven. He popped off that week against the Ravens with 6 touchdowns. He has the weapons there, but he's injured, and we don't know if he can really hold up to it. So I don't know. I have an E tier for now. I have a couple injured guys. I have Dak there. I have Watson, the suspended guy down there. But there's definitely, you shouldn't drop them. I would keep them in your IR.
I mean, the good thing about Tua is like with his offense with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek, like he can throw the ball. Like he doesn't need to throw the ball that far. He can I'm not saying anything about his arm strength. I'm just saying like if he just throws the ball like 20 yards to Tyreek and Tyreek runs it another 40, that's 60 pass yards for Tua. So like in fantasy,
they buff him for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But let me talk about Carr and let me talk about the C tier. So Carr, he has the weapons. He has Devontae now. He's not a terrible quarterback. I mean, he's not bad. And if you have those weapons, you're going to get fantasy points. Trevor Lawrence playing out of his mind. Jaguars are good this year. Zay Jones and Christian Kirk, pick them up if you haven't already. I used the waiver on Zay Jones. They are going to get tons of passing. They're a passing offense. They're using James Robinson, I know, but they're a passing offense this year. He will be a good fantasy quarterback. Russell Wilson, I think they'll play better. He's been a really bad start for Wilson, but you got to think with Judy and Sutton and Javonte that Broncos offense has to get going. And Wilson's been that a top guy for so long. He's just getting acclimated to his new team. Tier D. I got Kirk, Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Marcus Mariota, Matt Stafford. So these guys are all kind of streamer guys for me. They're all the same. Kirk, he's throwing to JJ. They're throwing a lot with the new offensive head coach. So he'll be a streamer guy. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have weapons, but he's still Aaron Rodgers. Carson Wentz, he has a lot of weapons. He's okay. I think he's a little bit overrated right now. Well, maybe before last week because he didn't play good last week. Jared Goff, they're throwing out. Lions look good. Lions, O-line and Swift and Monroe, like Lions look good. Marcus Mariota, he's a dual threat quarterback. He can run. He's got Drake London and Pitts. He's kind of exciting, honestly, as a streamer quarterback. If you can't play any of your main guys for some reason, and then Matt Stafford, he's got Cup. He's still Matt Stafford. I don't like his situation. I probably wouldn't start him until we get some more Allen Robinson catches or something, like anybody else other than Cup. Higby's been playing okay, but come on. And then I guess Jameis Winston's the last, just because he can go crazy sometimes. But yeah, any last thoughts?
That's I don't know, man. I think that's really disrespectful to put Mariota above Stafford, but all right, it's fine.
I mean, he's a dual threat quarterback. He gets rushing yards. That automatically buffs your points by 3 or 4 each week, just because of his rushing upside.
That's true.
And in a 4-point passing touchdown league, if he gets a rushing touchdown, that's 6 points. So I had to put him above him. Omar, anything?
Nothing of significance. I just haven't. I mean, they're all in the same general tiers for me. I think Carson's a little lower. Same with Goff
Really?
and
Okay.
Stafford, but other than that,
They're all
they're all pretty similar to me.
All right, last one. Tight end.
Oh my god.
You might see something interesting about this tier list. I got Kelsey and Andrews in S tier. And nobody in A tier. There's a huge cliff. There's a huge jump between these 2 players and the next 3 players. I do have Kelsey as number 1 tight end above Andrews, even though Andrews has been the number 1 guy so far. I don't know. I mean, come on. Mahomes and Kelsey, like, really? You're going to bet against that? They're going to be fine the rest of the year. I mean, Kelsey's been playing well, too. It's not like he hasn't been playing bad. I have him at Andrews just because of that consistency of having Mahomes. Andrews will be up there. Lamar's targeting him tons. Like I said, I have those 2 guys above everybody else. There's a big cliff. And then we go Pitts, Waller, Kittle. Let me just show you guys something. So if you look at my overall rankings, I have like some running backs and wide receivers. Then I have Kelsey and Andrews at 10 and 11. I think it's so worth it to have these guys over like even Chase and Adams and Chubb because of this drop off. Like if you're playing these tight ends, you're getting 5 extra points ahead of the next tight end. So you're just making a gap. Like when you're playing head to head in fantasy football, your goal is to make gaps between your opponent. So if you can get those gaps, I think they're that worth it.
Yeah, I did the same. I actually also have A tier open as well. I'm the same thing here. Yeah, I have those 2.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I really tried to justify like Darren Waller going to A tier, but it's just not happening. I can't expect Derek Carr to not improve that much, but expect Devontae to improve and Darren Waller to like get to that like level production I would need for him to get to A tier. So I think I have him like still at B tier. I do have him above Pitts right now though, just because like I don't know. I don't trust it. The Atlanta Falcons offense is even worse than I thought it would be. So I don't know. It's not getting.
Let's hear it, Omar.
I have so I have Waller behind those 2. I have Goddard on par with Pitts probably right now too.
So you have Pitts, Kittle, Waller, Goddard.
Yeah, but I would rank Waller and Goddard ahead of Pitts and Kittle.
Oh wow. Okay. So you're high on Goddard.
I mean, yeah, well, it's because of the way the Eagles' offense works. And Goddard is arguably the second passing option. Depends on Devontae Smith. They have designed like screens for him, which you only really see Kelsey and Andrews get. So I think Goddard is going to be really good this year. And Kittle has that tight end 1 upside, but the dude is either hurt or blocks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think you make some great points. To your point, I think Trent Williams getting injured as the left tackle for the San Francisco 49ers is a problem for me because I have Kittle. Kittle's going to have to be blocking more on that side of the field. If they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to need him to block. So he might not be going out for passes as much as I'd like him to. He, like you said, he has the upside. You have to keep him in the B2. Pitts has been really disappointing. I think he'll bounce back. Waller has too much target competition now with Devonta Adams in the red zone. That's interesting that you put Goddard up. I mean, I can buy into it. Maybe I'll have to see a couple more Eagles games, but I think you have a solid point. I mean, obviously, I have him in front of my C tier above Ertz and Schultz. Ertz will be a decent guy in an offense that I think is underrated. Schultz is one of the only targets for the Cowboys when he comes back, when Dak comes back. And then we go down to like the guys I don't care about really, like Pat, Hawkinson, Higbee. They are worse than these guys. They are worse than the C tier players. They are better than the E tier players. That's why I made a tier for them. But really, D and E is just like you're just kind of punting tight end. You're getting your points elsewhere. What do you guys think?
I think Higbee should be one tier up. I'm pretty sure he's the second target on the Rams offense, and he also has the benefit of being white, and Matthew Stafford can't differentiate. When he's looking for Cup, you just never know. So, I mean, I do think Higbee's probably the same.
Well,
as,
there goes the YouTube video.
I'm just
Oh,
saying.
now we're
great.
going viral.
This is
just
this is
saying.
great, man. Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
he's played really well. Sure, whatever. I mean, let's just put all those guys in one tier and then we'll move a Goddard up, and then I'll agree. But I don't know. If you're not, in my opinion, if you don't have Kelsey, Andrews, Pitts, Waller, Kittle, and I guess Goddard, you don't have a good tight end. I don't like the rest of them. I either want the last guy or I want the top two guys. That's how I felt about tight end this year, and that's how I drafted in both my leagues. I either got like the last pick of tight end or I got Kelsey. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys like our updated rest of season rankings for week 4 and on for the rest of the year. And subscribe, like the video, help out the algorithm.
Dude, you spelled your name wrong in the title slide.
I gotta fix the thumbnail, and thank you so much for watching.
Good job.